Happy Thursday, everyone. We got a nice steady state kind of flow for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoy. We're not looking at any high intensity. We're just looking at moving well and keeping a steady flow throughout this work set. So to get us there, what we have is a nice long kind of warm set. We have a plank to down dog for 3 to 5. We do a side lunge for 6 to 10 alternating. Goblet squat for 6 to 10 at a 3-1-3 tempo. So you can experiment there with a little bit of different loading if you'd like. Narrow squat hold 10 to 20 seconds. Foot assisted pistol for 3 to 5 a side, and a single leg RDL for 3 to 5 a side. 3 rounds of that piece just to really wake those legs up, get the core ready, and just really feel some good positions and work on some key skills. After that, we have our dumbbell sumo deadlift for 3, dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull for 3. Repeat on the opposite side. So we're going to use that in our workouts. So it's going to be a great opportunity to work on finessing that skill with low volume before we bust into some high volume in the workout. After that, we're going to work on some coordination balance. Back scale to high knee for 3 a side, nice and slow, and then some ankle pops for 10 to 20 seconds. The ankle pop can be substituted for many things today. Just a little bit of light cardio work. Could be some jump overs, could be some skipping, treadmill, rowing, whatever you have access to at home. If you'd like to play around with some different stuff, please add that in there for anywhere from 20 seconds, 30 seconds max. Just a short little burst to get that heart rate up. Taking that down 2 to 3 rounds, we're going to move into our work set today. And our work set, again, like I talked about, is a steady state flow. So I want you to think about attacking that at a low intensity. So we're looking at a dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull for 30 a side at a nice steady flow, right into a standing march of 60 seconds of just steady state movement. And then you're going to put the dumbbell down and you're going to move into 2 minutes of smooth and steady air squats. These air squats are not meant to be for max reps. They're just meant to be for movement. So take it at a pace that you can just move steady and fluently. And your legs are going to burn, yes, but we want to make sure that we're trying to stay at a pace that we can just maintain, even work through that burn a little bit. Right after that, we're going to move right back into that same work set. Dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull for 30 per side, standing march for 60 seconds, and then an air squat for 2 minutes again, just to get that body moving really, really well. And have some fun with this one today, you guys. So low intensity, think smooth, steady flow. Let's get you warmed up and ready for action. All right, guys, let's warm up. Let's get those feet under those hips. We're gonna take the arms big and tall. Big reach to one side. Take it over to the other side. We'll come back up, forward fold. Touch those toes. We'll walk up the shins. We'll come down, frame a foot. Step it back into the lizard. Inside hands, you're going to lock that front foot in place. We're going to turn the torso. We come back to center. We're going to lower the knee. We're going to stay here for a couple. We're going to press the hip. Come back to center. Press the hip. Back to center. And press the hip. Back to center. Straighten the leg. Turn. Come back through. We'll take that inside hand all the way up. And rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up. And rotate, and back up, and rotate. Good, we'll come back up to the sky, plant the hand, we'll step back into that down dog, reaching those hips, walk those heels a few times, nice and gentle, just to make sure everything feels good. Come back into that plank, step the other foot up, locking that front foot in, we're going to turn the torso, come back through, lower the knee, press the hip, back to center, press the hip, back to center, and press the hip, back to center, straighten out the leg, turn, come back through, inside hand's gonna rise up, and rotate, forearm to the floor, come back up, and rotate, and back up, and rotate, and back up, plant the hand, step her back into that down dog, reach those hips, set those shoulders, walk the heels, nice and gentle, nice and easy. Come back into that plank, tiptoe those feet up, we're gonna roll ourselves all the way up, big stretch, big reach, good, come on down. Get you guys fired up. Let's get you ready. Now, if you'd like to do a little bit more upper body, lower body kind of warm up on your own, please do so. Take that time. But if you're ready to come along with me. We're going to talk about that opening sequence of the warm-up. All right, let's get ourselves set up. We're going to start off with our plank to down dog. So a fan favorite. I'm going to turn profile so you can see the plank. I'm going to plant my hands, get set up in that good plank. My feet can be spaced out a little bit. I'm going to press my shoulders to the sky and pull those ribs in. And I'm going to pull my hips back, opening up those shoulders so those lats, those armpits are pointing towards my toes. I have a nice space between my neck and shoulders. Now as I come back into my plank, I'm going to pull my ribs in, press my shoulders up, and find that good hollow position. Pulling back, I'm going to get that good extension in that back. Armpits that were pointing towards the toes, so we get that good strong shoulder. Come back, trying to get that nice hollow in as I move. But if I can't quite do it on the flow into the plank, just hit your plank, find that hollow before we shift back into our down dog. It's a much easier time to maintain that good strong shoulder position if we set it in the plank before we start moving into the down dog. Now, after that, we come back up to a standing position. We're going to get ourselves into a wide stance. So with that wide stance, we're going to use that side lunge again, just like yesterday, with a nice kind of smooth tempo. No 303, but just try not to rush these ones. We want to make sure we're focusing on our hip to our heel and that good squat mechanics. So try to stay as tall as I can. My hip is going to go towards my heel, squeezing, focusing on that knee position so that knee tracks the toe. And my weight is going to stay right through those laces the entire time. So I pull myself down into that low position, push through that leg like I'm driving through a squat, and I stand tall. So I want to make sure I'm really focusing on that squat mechanic. So from that side profile, hip to heel, my body stays as upright as I can keep it, nice and solid, and stand tall. So if you didn't realize that I was in that side lunge with this leg straight, I would look like I was at the bottom of the squat from the side. From there, we're actually going to do some goblet squats. So we can grab our light dumbbell or moderate dumbbell, or start off with an air squat. It's up to you. Or we're going to get our feet under our, kind of outside the hips, shoulders, somewhere in there for you, our natural kind of regular squat stance. So everyone's is a little bit different, but we want to have it just outside the shoulders, or just outside the hips. I'm going to turn profile, toes are slightly turned out. I can take those hips to the heels, keeping the chest up high, and I have to work for that position through the chest and torso. So it's going to want to kind of collapse forward, but we want to really push into the dumbbell and make sure we're keeping everything nice and upright. Everything moves together, and when I change directions, hips and shoulders rise together. We have a slightly slower tempo on this. It's a 3-1-3. So we have a 3-second down, a little pause, 3-second stand. So you're going to be under tension for a while. Experiment, have some fun if you have some different dumbbells at home, different loading. You can play around with your loading. Shouldn't be maximal for the 6 to 10 reps, but you can experiment as the rounds go on just to experience a little bit of heavier weight for that. Next is we're going to bring our feet close together. So we're in our regular squat stance. We're going to bring those feet anywhere inside that stance. So I'm going to squeeze my glutes, stay super tall. I'm going to work on that same idea and those mechanics. Hips coming to the heels, chest staying upright, weight staying through the midfoot. So I'm trying to keep that good posture and that good back position in that narrow stance squat. Keeping this position, I'm making sure that I'm holding in the bottom, super active, weight staying through the midfoot, and then once I'm done, I stand well, hips and shoulders rising together. The big thing with those narrow squat holds, it's okay if you can't get quite as deep as you normally can in a sumo or a regular squat stance. It's a little tougher on the ankles, on the quads. So be gentle, take your time, and make sure you're hitting those key points. The last two exercises are some single leg work. We're going to explore the pistol and the RDL. So I'm okay if you want to kind of play with these two, kind of joint and alternate between the two. So 1 rep pistol, 1 rep RDL, or just take them as they are. If you're like, whoa, Dave, whoa. They're hard enough on their own. We don't need to be alternating back and forth. That's fine, all right? You can rock the pistol first, hit the RDL second, and take it from there. But the pistol, I get my foot set and ready. My other toe is kind of back here like a kickstand. My hips are square to the front, so I'm not opening up to the side. I'm nice and square, my glutes are tight. I pull my hip down to the heel, keeping my body upright, just like in that narrow squat, and then I push through that balancing leg. This leg doesn't do a lot of pushing, but it does help with balance. So it's gonna allow me to really focus on the drive through this balancing leg that I'm using as my balance in my squat. So I come down, the majority of my weight's over this foot, I push through that leg to drive up into that nice full extension. Now the RDL, a little different. Hip to heel for the pistol. I set up for my RDL same way, and I'm gonna take my hip to the back of the room. So I hinge, feeling those hamstrings say hi, just taking my hands down towards the knee or just below the knee, and then I stand. So I'm maintaining that good hinge, that good straight back position, but I'm not trying to stay as upright as I can. I'm allowing that body to pull and come forward, just like I would if I was doing a good morning. Okay, so I'm gonna feel that pull through that hamstring and my glute, not necessarily through the quad. So you can play with that two different ways. You can keep the kickstand down to find that engagement. If you are getting better with that, you're feeling that hamstring as you go, you can work on that single leg RDL where we take the foot off the floor. So we're working a little bit of balance work, still pulling back to that same position. The body should look the same, except this foot is just sort of hovering along the top of the ground. So we don't have to lift it super high, we're just keeping it off the ground, so I have to work a little bit more stability with that balancing leg. So there's no tempo for both of those, but again, I like using these a little slower, all right, so we can really focus on those positions and really focus on our balance and our drive through that single leg. So if you want to take it a little slower, all big thumbs up right there, all right, take it down. Quick little recap, we have a plank to down dog for 3 to 5, side lunge for 6 to 10 alternating, goblet squat for 6 to 10 at a 3-1-3, narrow squat hold for 10 to 20 seconds, foot assisted pistol into a single leg RDL, 3 to 5 per side on both of those. You can alternate them, you can do all the pistols, all the RDLs, it's up to you. Take it down, have some fun, pause the video. You got 3 rounds of that to take down. Get yourself really good and ready. We're gonna start focusing on a little bit more movement specific and a little bit more balance work. All right, our body should have a pretty good heat going right now with our body set. So what we're gonna start doing is playing around with this dumbbell. What we're gonna do though for this dumbbell is we're gonna get ourselves set up right over top. And we're gonna focus on a few key points with the deadlift and then the high pull. So before we get to the high pull, because I'm just gonna flow right into it, when I have my dumbbell in my hand, I want you to watch my elbow position. So as I come up from that position, that elbow is going to come high and outside. So it's coming back and up. It's not coming straight up and forward. It's back and up. And that's going to feel really nice on that chest and that pec, opposed to being forward and turned in. You want to make sure that elbow is going back and up. The dumbbell is going to end up somewhere around the chest, but out to the side a little bit. So it's not coming right up the middle, it's out to the side. Kind of scarecrow position if I was holding onto a bar. So now, back to the original, we're gonna start off with 3 dumbbell sumo deadlifts, and then we're gonna bust into 3 sumo deadlift high pulls. So I'm gonna turn to the side for the first 3, for the first rep of the deadlift. So you can see the hips, because the sumo deadlift high pull has the same hip and start position. I take the hips back and down, knees go slightly out, tight on that dumbbell, and I'm going to stand through those legs, open the hips and the knees together. I'm then going to take it back and down again, taking it to wherever I feel comfortable in terms of the floor position. That could be mid-shin, just off the floor, could be the floor, but I want you to focus on your back position as your primary focus. So maintaining that good, strong deadlift back. And then I come up. Now moving into my sumo deadlift high pull, the back position and start position is the same. The only difference is I'm going to start building some momentum and get that dumbbell moving towards the sternum. So I take it back and down, I get set through the midfoot, I drive through those legs, getting some momentum, and I let that arm guide the dumbbell up. The arm is not pulling the dumbbell up, it's just guiding it with the momentum and the speed given to the dumbbell from the hips and the legs. So you'll notice there's a single moment of kind of weightlessness as I guide that arm and use that momentum well. I'm also not holding the dumbbell up here for any amount of time. I'm getting that range, coming back down with control. So one more time, I take it down, push through those legs, and let that dumbbell come up, and then let it come down when it's ready to come down. After I've done both sides, 3 and 3, I'm going to come into my back scale to high knee. And the back scale to high knee is kind of a fun little exercise. It's a little different. We just worked on that hinge in the single leg RDL, all right? Now we're going to work on a full hinge, allowing our body to move as one unit, keeping the hips square to the floor. And then I come through and bring that knee up as high as I feel comfortable. I'll put the foot down. I'll kind of get set up again. Straighten that leg. Hinge at the hip, so I'm still pulling back a bit into that hamstring. And then I come through, nice and smooth. Lift that knee. Now it's very important in that back scale that we keep the hips square to the front, shoulders square to the floor. So what I like to do is keep my palms forward, a little bit upper body engagement, and it's nice for balance. But we want to make sure we're only going as far down as I can keep this hip square to the floor and not open and rotate up to the side. So if this is your range, keeping your hips square, you're like, that's as far as I got. That's okay, all right? We can work to that edge and work on, over time, working down to parallel to the floor. So don't think you have to get to parallel right away. Build yourself down with good position. Go to your edge where you can balance, and then work that high knee up. We got 3 per side. Take them slow. They're not meant to be quick. Take them slow. Take them steady. Our last exercise on that list is our ankle pop, or skip, or dumbbell lateral jump over. But we want to think of some sort of cardio piece that's just going to get our body moving, a little bit of impact perhaps, all right, but get that heart rate going and getting ready for the work set. So the ankle pop again, feet are underneath of those hips. My hands are kind of turned up like I'm using a skipping rope. My palms are turned up and my elbows are tight. Glutes are engaged, core is engaged, my shoulders are relaxed. So I'm going to work on that nice little rebound. My knees and ankles do what they do, which is absorb and give back. So I'm not trying to be too stiff in the knees and the ankles. I'm just trying to keep my knees from going in. All right, but we want to make sure that we're not trying to be too rigid in those legs, so we allow the leg to do what it does naturally. Okay. Quick little recap. We have a dumbbell sumo deadlift for 3, dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull for 3. Repeat on the opposite side. Back scale to high knee for 3 aside. Ankle pop, 10 to 20 seconds. Skip, dumbbell lateral jump over, row, run, wall run, whatever you want to do for that. Just about 20 to 30 seconds worth of cardio to get yourself kind of ready to go and that heart rate high so we can work on getting ourselves ready for the workout. Pause that video, get that ready, work that skill of the sumo deadlift. We're going to move into the work set, talk about that momentarily, and get you guys ready to go for this nice low intensity work set. All right, we've made it to the workout. All right, so the workout today is meant to be a low to moderate intensity work set. So I don't want you to think about rushing through this for time or trying to get it done as fast as you can. The biggest thing I can give you guys for that sumo deadlift high pull start, we've already gone through the work set in terms of that movement, kind of breaking it down a little bit in terms of positionings and points of performance. So if you need that again, scroll back, check that out in our last little phase of warm-up so you can see those points of performance. But our pacing for this sumo deadlift high pull to keep it at that low to moderate intensity is really crucial. So something you guys can play with. Think about a row stroke. As we get set, I push through those legs, I drive, and then think 3, 2, 1. Drive. 3, 2, 1. Drive. 3, 2, 1. Drive. So you really have a chance to work on that nice, good position. You're going to keep your heart rate at a relatively moderate kind of pace with those, and you're not going to gas out trying to go too fast. So keep it light, keep it smooth, and if you want to add in that 3, 2, 1 from the hip down to the floor, take that on. It'll help keep you honest, it'll help keep that pace down, and it'll allow you to have a little bit of cadence work to the work. All right? It's 30 per side, but if you'd like to break that up, 5, 5, 5, 5, until you've done 30 per side, be my guest. If you want to stick with all 30 on one side, 30 on the other side, also fine with that. Whatever you want to take down, rock it. After that, we move into our standing march. And we can hold on to that dumbbell in our suitcase, our front rack, our overhead, our zercher, so it's kind of resting against my chest, and or goblet. So you can hold that position anywhere you like. But the thing we want to focus on is when we're doing the march, regardless of where we're holding the dumbbell, we want to make sure our glutes are tight and our core is tight. So when I go to stand, this leg, balancing leg, is nice and straight. We're not picking the leg up and then caving and bending as I lift that knee. So we want to make sure as we step, we're kind of pushing down with that leg, keeping it straight and strong. Nice foundation into the earth. So we want to make sure that we're not bending and giving into that knee when we're doing that march. You have 60 seconds of marches, so just keep it at a nice steady pace that you can just keep moving or try and keep moving for 60 seconds. Right after that, you'll put the dumbbell down and you'll start moving into your regular squat stance and just squatting for quality for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter how many reps you get into 2 minutes, but we want to work on good squat mechanics, a good smooth movement, and just try and keep that movement going for the entire 2 minutes. It's going to burn, it's going to be tough, but the key thing for you guys to keep in mind is focus on a few key points of your air squat that you know you need to work on the most, and just keep that in your mind as your priority focus. Not how many squats you get, but making sure perhaps those knees stay in, or my weight stays through the midfoot, something along those lines. And that'll keep you honest with that squat and allow you to really work that quality and take it at a tempo or a pace that you can keep going for 2 minutes. After the squat, we repeat it. So we're going to take it down again, and hopefully, if you're kind of keeping track of your time, hopefully it takes you about the same amount of time to get through those sumo deadlift high pulls and everything else as you move through that work set. So we're trying to keep kind of an equal work between the 2 rounds. It may happen, it may not, but the key thing here is keeping that heart rate relatively low and moving at a pace that we can just try and keep moving steady for the whole thing. I hope you enjoy this kind of format, this kind of low intensity, steady state kind of flow. Play with it, enjoy it. Sometimes it's hard for us to pull back that intensity. We always want to go hard, and it's awesome to see that, but sometimes we do have to pull back a little bit and go a little slower. And this is one of those workouts that helps kind of allow us to do that, but we don't have to worry about time, just worry about quality and pacing. As always, you guys, work for quality, have some fun, enjoy this one. It's a little lower intensity for that midweek. We got a sweet little work set coming out for you guys tomorrow to ease you into the weekend. It's going to be a great time, but enjoy, have fun. We'll see you very soon. Bye, you guys.